Welcome to Connect Church Online. It's great to have you with us. My name is Dwayne Hawksworth, and I'm the lead pastor here at Connect in Waco. We're in week 3 of our series on the book of Ruth. Now, even if you're just joining us, there's something helpful in our discussion for you today. You've met someone, and things are going well. What kind of qualities should you bring to the relationship? That's what we're talking about today in our series, The Book of Ruth. Now, today we're discussing the 4 things to look for that might show you have a keeper. And we would enjoy having you connect with us and keep up with things here at Connect Church. So let me tell you how you can do that and even give and support what we're doing if you'd like. Take your cell phone and text the words Connect Church to 94,000. That's the words Connect Church to 94,000. This will provide you with a link to both connect with us and to give if you'd like. You can also go to our website, connectwaco.com/give. To connect with us by mail, our mailing address is Connect Church, P.O. Box 4317, Waco, Texas 76715. There'll be a screen at the end of our time together with this information too. Thank you for watching this week and for connecting with us. Also, thank you for supporting what we're doing here at Connect Church in Waco. Before I bring today's message, our band has a song for you. I hope you enjoy this week's online celebration.
Jesus Messiah, name above all. Blessed Redeemer, Emmanuel, the rescue for sinners, the ransom from heaven, Jesus Messiah, Lord of all. He became sin, who knew no sin, that we might become His righteousness. He humbled Himself, carried the cross,
wondering what to look for in a spouse. You've met someone who seems pretty special and things are going pretty well. So now you ask yourself the question, is this the one you want to spend the rest of your life with? Here's the question we should be considering. What kind of qualities should you bring to a relationship? Maybe another way to ask it is, have you become a person someone else would want to spend the rest of their life with? As we continue through the book of Ruth, today we're going to see Boaz and Ruth start to get to know each other, start to date in a way that will prepare them for a marriage that will honor God. So today, we're talking about dating and we're talking about marriage. Would you agree that dating can be kind of awkward? It's a little bit like a job interview, isn't it? You're going on a job interview and you're not sure what to wear, you're not sure what to say. You hope you make a good impression and that you don't say or do the wrong thing. Back in my dating days, you actually had to talk to people face to face or on the phone. You couldn't just do it all online. You actually had to talk. The what to say part is the part that always got me. People who know me well now know that I have no problem talking. They have a difficult time believing that I used to be just the opposite. I was so shy that if I didn't know someone, I could not start up a conversation with them. When Lisa and I went out on our first date, I was so scared I wouldn't be able to keep conversation going. Our first date was to church youth service. That means lots of people to keep conversations going. Afterward, we would go to Mr. Gaddy's Pizza. Everyone went, so again, I was safe. Other people would keep the conversation going. Everything went fine until we got to Mr. Gaddy's. None of the youth group was there. It was just me and Lisa. Now I had to talk. So what happened? Well, Lisa and I have been married for almost 43 years. I think that means we managed to communicate in spite of my shyness. I've seen times where God brought great couples together through online dating. I think it can be a very good thing. If there's any downside, it might be that can cause us to treat people like a commodity, like shopping in a store. This is the type of person I'm shopping for, which can really be dehumanizing. The principle for today is this: we are all shopping for the type of person we want. Instead of just looking for what we want to get from someone else, let's change and look to what we want to give someone. Listen carefully, because you don't just attract what you want, you tend to attract what you are. Let me say that again. You don't just attract what you want, you attract who you are. There's a lot of truth in this even after we're married. Problems often come into our relationships when we stop treating the person the way we treated them when we were dating. The person we presented ourselves to be is no longer the person we continue to be. Let me say that again. The person we presented ourselves to be is no longer the person we continue to be. The efforts, the initiative, the investments we made to get the relationship are no longer what we do to keep the relationship. As we just said, you don't attract what you want. You tend to attract what you are. We will see that play out today in the book of Ruth. We're going to look at 4 signs that you might have a keeper. As Boaz is checking Ruth out, we're going to see 4 things happen. The first thing that we will see is Boaz is actually seeking character. They're exploring connection, then we see them show consideration, and finally they receive confirmation. Now, Boaz is a landowner, a lover of God, and a good leader. He's a very kind and he's generous to Ruth, and she's a little bit surprised. She's taken aback and wondering, why are you being so kind to me? Ruth chapter 2 and verse 10 tells us Ruth fell at his feet and thanked him warmly. What have I done to deserve such kindness, she asked. I'm only a foreigner. You can almost see she might be a little bit insecure. Something I love about this text is there's no mention of her physical appearance. Boaz isn't focusing on what's on her outside. He's looking at what's on her inside. The first thing he does is highlight who she is as a person. Why? Because he's seeking character. Watch how he replies in verse 11. Yes, I know, Boaz replied, but I also know about everything you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband. I've heard how you left your father and mother and your own land to live here among complete strangers. What's he saying? He's saying, I heard that you left Moab and idol worship and you turned to the one true God and worship him, that you were loyal to your mother-in-law, that when that other girl, Orpah, wasn't and went back, that you're not a victim. You're not sitting back wanting someone to take care of you. You're not looking for a handout. You got up early, came to the field, and started to work. You have godly character. I would ask you this very serious question. Are you a person of character? Are you a person with growing spiritual character? I've known people in my lifetime that wanted someone of character, but weren't interested in being a person of character. Are you following Jesus, learning to live the way he lives? Do you seek to become a person of your word, a person who's trustworthy, faithful, honest, truthful, loving, and kind? Are you allowing Jesus to change you to become more like him? Now, why does this matter? Because it's impossible to build solid relationships on foundations of sin. If you want a godly marriage today or in the future, it's wise that you seek God and live a godly life today. It makes no sense to live one way, a selfish, sinful way, but expect to have a godly outcome. It's like the old joke about asking for directions and being told you can't get there from here, because you really can't get there from here. What are you looking for? Let's be practical for just a moment. Look at their friends. What are their friends like? Are their friends pursuing Jesus? People tend to be like those they run with. How do they treat their family? How does he talk about his mom? How do they treat people that serve them? You go to a restaurant, are they kind to the waiters and the waitresses? Are they arrogant and entitled? Does she have a work ethic? Does he take initiative? In other words, if they're jerks to everyone else, if they have no quality friends, if they're critical of everyone else, and they're always a victim and they push you sexually and they distract you from God, these are not signs of godly character. Listen carefully to this. When a person shows you who they really are, believe them. They may be cute, but cute fades. Character lasts. Boaz is a man of standing. He's a man of character. He notices Ruth's character. The next thing we see is that they're exploring to see if there's a connection. In verse 14, Boaz invites her on a date, in a sense. He says, do you want to have lunch? It's not even a private lunch. They're in a place where everybody's going to feel comfortable, and they're actually going to get to know each other. At mealtime, Boaz called to her, come over here and help yourself to some food. You can dip your bread in the sour wine. So she sat with his harvesters, and Boaz gave her some roasted grain to eat. She ate all she wanted and still had some left over. Instead of like the old Olivia Newton-John song, they aren't getting physical. They're getting to know each other. I see far too many people who quickly make physical connections without getting to really know the person. Then later, when they really get to know them, don't like what they see and live unhappy, or leave the relationship, leaving broken hearts and lives in the wake. You want someone who put out some effort to pursue you, not your body, but you. In verse 15, the scriptures tell us when Ruth went back to work again, Boaz ordered his young men, let her gather grain right among the sheaves without stopping her. Boaz is guarding Ruth's dignity. He's letting her work. She came to work for food, and he's letting her work. He's not going to just give her a handout, but he's saying, hey guys, make it easy on her. Give her a little extra. He's going out of his way to bless her. In verse 17, we read that Ruth gleaned in the field until evening. Then she threshed the barley that she had gathered, and it amounted to about an ephah. Well, what's an ephah? An ephah means a lot of barley. An ephah was about 2 weeks' wages. She worked for a day, but he was so generous, he makes it like an Easter egg hunt for the grandkids. They're just everywhere. Boaz put so much everywhere that after one day's work, she had an ephah, 2 weeks' wages. When you're dating, don't settle. If you don't settle when you're dating, you won't have to endure when you're married. So guys, you put some thought into a date. Clean your car. Take your Big Mac wrapper out of her seat so she doesn't wear it for the rest of her night when she gets out. Married couples, don't stop dating each other after you're married. Ladies, you want someone who might bring you a thoughtful gift. It doesn't have to be expensive. He may just pick up a flower on the side of the road and takes you to at least one time to a restaurant that doesn't have a drive-through. He sits down and asks you questions. He gets to know you and walks you to the door. He protects your heart, protects your purity, honors you, and values you. Guys, if you want a Ruth, be a Boaz. Be a giver. Be generous. Put some effort into the pursuit and the relationship, because you don't just attract what you want. You tend to attract what you are. Then later, when you're married, don't stop being the guy you were to get her. Ladies, don't surprise him by being someone different than who he knew when you were dating. When Ruth comes home to her mother-in-law, she has this ephah of grain, this mother load of grain. She says, Naomi, look what I got. And her mother-in-law asks her, where'd you glean today? Where'd you work? Blessed is the man who took notice of you. Whoever that guy is, I like him. Whoever did this, he's a good man, honorable, godly man. And what we know about Naomi is she loved Ruth. In chapter 1, Naomi prayed for God to send Ruth a godly man to provide for her a husband. So this person who loves her, that she can trust, is confirming that he's potentially a good candidate. That's why it's always a good sign when those who love you the most like who you like. When those that love you the most, that are really good people that you trust, when they say, hey, I see potential in her. Hey, I see potential in him. When the people that you trust the most and love you the most confirm it, that's really a good sign. What we're looking for is, do they mix well with the entire family? Do they engage in conversations? Do they contribute? Do they just leave their dish there, or do they carry it over? Are they polite? Are they grateful? If your mama doesn't like him, and your dad doesn't like him, and your brother doesn't like him, and your best friend doesn't like him, and your dog doesn't like him, it's most likely you're not receiving the confirmation from the trusted people that you want in your life. So what do you see? What do we see? Naomi says, I like what I see. There's some confirmation. Ruth shows up sweaty for her first date. She's not looking her best. Her hair's a mess, and she smells like someone who's been working in a field all day. Boaz is not looking at just what's on the outside. He sees her character. He likes what he sees. He gets to know her, and he likes who he gets to know. They show consideration for each other. There starts to be a confirmation. Naomi says, who is this guy that did this? Ruth says, his name is Boaz. Naomi says, Boaz is a relative of ours. And verse 20 says, he's one of our guardian redeemers. What's a guardian redeemer? Well, other versions say he's a kinsman redeemer. This is one of the big themes in the book of Ruth, and we're going to spend more time in the weeks to come. But it's a metaphor. The guardian redeemer, this is the person, this is the relative whose role, who chooses to come in and provide for someone who's had significant loss. A family member loses a spouse, and the widow has no means to provide for herself. So the guardian redeemer protects her and provides for her and honors her and takes care of her. Ruth's not even an Israelite. Boaz doesn't owe her anything, not a thing. Yet he chooses to give her everything. This is grace. In the New Testament, we have a guardian redeemer, and his name is Jesus. He's the living Son of God who protects us, provides for us, paid the debt for the forgiveness of our sins, and meets all of our needs. He's the one who works in all things, even in your broken relationships, even in your struggling marriage. He's the one that when you call on him and when you seek him, he will always be found by you.